a peaceful people, struggle as we struggle, and we don't look for trouble, just ask around. But when outside faces from foreign places talk about taking over, we ain't backing down. We ain't giving up no mountains, we ain't giving up no tree, we ain't giving up no river that belongs to we. Not one blue sake, not one rice grain, not one grass, not a blade of grass. This land is all I know. We're gonna make it somehow. We will bend like a bow, but never break. Our fathers came here, and they lived and died here, and we ain't moving nowhere, make no mistake. We ain't giving up no mountains, we ain't giving up no tree, we ain't giving up no river that belongs to we. Not one blue sake, not one rice grain, not one grass, not a blade of grass.
We love the open county of the Rupununi and the Essequibo, daytime or night. Though we may criticize it, this is our home, we love it, and we need to keep it. We have that right.
We ain't giving up no mountains, we ain't giving up no tree, we ain't giving up no river that belongs to we. Not one blue sake, not one rice grain, not one grass, not a blade of grass. We ain't giving up no mountains, we ain't giving up no tree, we ain't giving up no river that belongs to we. Not one blue sake, not one rice grain, not one grass, not a blade of grass. We ain't giving up no mountains, we ain't giving up no tree, we ain't giving up no river that belongs to we. Not one blue sake, not one rice grain, not one grass, not a blade of grass.
This is Quincy Anderson. You know I love my country. There's no other country better than mine. Welcome to Guyana, land of 6 races, 6 different faces, and we all live in love. Guyana is a beautiful country, no other can compare. Got everything right here, so no other can compare. Guyana is made up of so many natural resources. We don't need no forces, cause we got enough resources. Let's talk about bauxite, gold, diamond, and rice. We got it right here. Guyana ain't going nowhere. We got enough oil too. One Guyana, I love Guyana. Guyana, my country, my home. The only place I call home. One Guyana, I love Guyana. Guyana, my country, my home. The only place I call home. Hey, hey, Guyana is nice, Guyana is fun, Guyana is clean, Guyana is green, Guyana got oil, Guyana got gold, Guyana got young and Guyana got old. I ain't talking no more. Guyana got things, we growing wings and developing things. The government real and that's a big deal. I'm singing from my heart, Guyana. I love Guyana. Guyana, my country, my home. The only place I call home. One Guyana. I love Guyana. Guyana, my country, my home. The only place I call home. Welcome to Guyana, land of 6 races, 6 different faces, and we all live in love. Guyana is a beautiful country, no other can compare. got everything right here, so no other can compare. Guyana is made up of so many natural resources. We don't need no forces, cause we got enough resources. Let's talk about bauxite, gold, diamond, and rice. We got it right here. Guyana ain't going nowhere. We got enough oil to one Guyana. I love Guyana. Guyana, my country, my home. The only place I call home. One Guyana. I love Guyana. Guyana, my country, my home. The only place I... This is Quincy Anderson. You know I love my country. There's no other country better than mine. Welcome to Guyana, land of 6 races, 6 different faces, and we all live in love. Guyana is a beautiful country, no other can compare. Got everything right here, so no other can compare. Guyana is made up of so many natural resources. We don't need no forces, cause we got enough resources. Let's talk about bauxite, gold, diamond, and rice. We got it right here. Guyana ain't going nowhere. We got enough oil to one Guyana. I love Guyana. Guyana, my country, my home. The only place I call home. One Guyana. I love Guyana. Guyana, my country, my home. The only place I call home. Hey, Guyana is nice, Guyana is fun, Guyana is clean, Guyana is green, Guyana got oil, Guyana got gold, Guyana got young and Guyana got old. I ain't talking no more. Guyana got things, we growing wings and developing things. The government real.
Good morning, good morning, good morning to everybody tuned in to Livewire. It's the 26th of February, 2024, and March is over. March is over, and back to the regular routine until it's the next holiday again. I think it's Easter coming up after. And it was funny to see, I was telling somebody just yesterday, I think it was the day before yesterday, that the kids were already out with the kites. So that was interesting. You know, they're not giving any space. They're out with the kites. So morning to all the persons tuned in on the live already. Anthony Wong joining us from France. Vina Ramkaran, morning to you. Rahim Amarali, morning to you. Dial Sukram, morning to you. Dial's back in USA. He was here briefly for funeral of a relative. Condolences again to you, Dial, and the family. Umar Sharif joining us from NYC. Chris, morning to you. Takur Bridgelal, morning to you. Jonah Bijan joining us from Canada. Rose, morning to you. Sandy Mangar, good morning. Faisal Ghani, Mohammed Isaf, Hilton Su, Chris Takur Prasad, Faisal Ghani, Eunice Ragabir, good morning to you. And I hope you're having a wonderful morning so far. And I'm hoping for an excellent week for you as well. Mukesh Vishnurat, morning to you. You should be home soon too as well. Looking forward to meeting all you guys. And to tell you the truth, I ran into a couple of people who look at Livewire over the Mashramani period there. So, you know, it was nice. It was nice to see some of the viewers, some of the people who were looking at me. Right? So, Sean Jainarine, morning to you. Sally Jones, Asif Hamad, Rennie Prasad, Sherwin Siram, Shakila Bridgelal, morning to you. Michael Danas, morning to you. Leroy Mangal from New York City. Ramnarain Singh, morning to you. Neil Ramlokan, Pam Singh, Geeta Prasad, Data Nandalal. Special good morning to Councillor Stephanie Nelson Moore. Geeta Prasad, morning to you. M. Singh, morning. Vijay Lacha, morning to you. Well, somebody I have to look out for here on this live. Anyway, when I see the name, I can remember. I think it's no, it's not Jamila Kayum. Something Rahim. Anyway, morning to everybody. Welcome to the live. I trust everybody had a good Mashramani. They were able to celebrate safely. Didn't have any accidents or anything, any mishaps or incidents during the period. And we're back to regular programming. Back to regular programming, people. What story is this? Yeah, so a couple of things for us to discuss this morning. And I wanted to show y'all some of the stuff that's happening in relation to education. You know, when some persons might claim that the focus is not on education and educators and the learners and things like that, we keep seeing a different perspective from the powers that be. Those persons who are in charge of, advancing education and making sure educators have the facilities to properly deliver to the future generation. And over the Mashramani period there, I've noticed Minister Manik Chan posting construction sites in various regions of schools currently under construction to add to the complement we currently have, right? And this one here, I'm about to show you. This one here is for the Tushen Secondary School that is currently under construction. So this gives you a little view of what's happening there in Tushen with the new secondary school that they're going to be constructing there. And with all the housing and all the stuff that we see happening across the country in these regions, it is only prudent planning that the government implements or builds these schools to deal with the additional students and persons living in this area. So take, for instance, somebody might be renting on the East Coast. They finally get the house lot. It's on the West Side. And it will be more convenient for that child to go to school in that area, or probably even a new couple having a baby, that child growing up in this area now will have a school state of the art for them to go to. And these are the kind of investments you see the government making in various sectors: sport, education, health, various sectors, this type of investment. Now, something happened last week, a little bit before March, that I didn't get to touch on, but I will touch on it today. Now, listen, this guy here, this former minister of government, right? Anybody who knows George Norton knows that this is not something shocking or unfamiliar. The gentleman loves alcohol. Something we could say about quite a few members on that side of the house. Well, he's not a member of parliament anymore. If you remember clearly, this is the guy who rented the drug barn. I think it was for about 14 million with condoms and lubricant inside. And I'm not talking about vehicular lubricant or WD-40. You understand? Extracurricular activities lubricant. That's the kind of lube he had in there. You understand? So George Norton, and I need to follow up on this to see what really happened after the fact, because he hit somebody's car from behind under the influence of alcohol. And this is the kind of thing you expect from the opposition these days. This is the kind of thing. But anyway, let's look at some more prudent matters. Now, I saw a video with this gentleman here. speaking to some teacher issues and things like that. And I wanted to go through it with y'all because at the end of the day, you when you think these people really looking for the teachers and betterment for teachers, there's always some kind of underlying issue. And once you could find out what it is, you understand their motivation. And this guy, I maintain, has a deep hatred, like a lot of other persons on the opposition side, for the vice president. I don't know what the vice president did to him personally or however you want to put it. But this guy, this phone, oh my God. Yeah, this guy says 5735. Yes, this guy has a serious issue with the vice president. 5735. Okay, that's close enough. So let's listen to this.
Speak up against a wrong act if you're silent.
Now, mind you, he's attacking a fellow pastor, a gentleman by the name of Selwyn Sills. Apparently, he's a pastor as well. And Nigel here is deciding to attack this man like how opposition persons would attack other Afro-Guyanese if their views don't align, right? They're not attacking you because you're saying, hey, this is my argument and this is the merits behind my argument. They're attacking you on the grounds that, one, you and them are of either a similar race, so you're Afro-Guyanese, they're Afro-Guyanese, so you automatically have to jump on board with what they're saying, right? In this gentleman's case, the apostle here, right, he's jumping on Mr. Sills' case because he feels Mr. Sills is not as aggressive as he is or as he should be as a pastor. And again and again and again on this program, I keep telling y'all that the PNC is in their normal mode, that when they do not get their way, they resort to break up, broke up, burn down, disrupt, disorder, right? So they will have, or he is encouraging public servants now to join the teachers' strike. He's encouraging public servants to join the teachers' strike. Now, mind you, I just wanted to be clear before I run the video that the president of this country, the vice president of this country, prime minister, the minister of education, anybody who talk about increase has never said, no, we don't want to give people increases. At no point has anyone in the current leadership government has said, no, we don't want to give teachers increases. Nobody said that. Nobody said, no, they don't want to give public servants increases. What is being said is that we need to have increases that we can maintain, right? So whilst the government is investing in the traditional sectors and is benefiting from the oil and gas sector that is now catching itself properly and kicking into gear, right? You have to take into consideration investment in those sectors, as I said, non-traditional, and what the oil and gas sector, the sector is bringing in. It could go up, it could go down, right? So let us say the government raises salaries 50% or 40% or how much ever percent the GT or the apostle wants, right? Then, given the global warming trends and that kind of thing, don't even let me go to oil and gas yet. Given the global warming trends and that kind of thing, we have a drought. So food stuff becomes scarce or whatever it is. Let me say COVID-19 pick up back up with some variant or something, shipping prices gone back up, and these kinds of things, right? Gas price fall, gas prices fall, so we don't have that money coming in. Let us say that the government has not invested in the infrastructure that they've invested in now already, and they're waiting to do that down the line. So they take the money they get now and hand it to the teachers. That man for all the public servants, as according to say, raise public servant salary 100%, 50%. Then we hit some issue down the road. Gas price fall, food prices gone up, inflation take in and take over the place. What is to happen then? What's to happen then? We can turn like Venezuela with one set of oil, and you got to take up a wheelbarrow load of money to go and buy groceries, or probably a loaf of bread. Are persons like Apostle London thinking about a long-term future? And that is the sad part about it. The vice president has said over and over again, we don't want to increase these salaries to a point where, in case something happens, we cannot maintain. It has been said over and over again that, hey, public servants are not the only persons that the government has to look after and ensure that there are benefits for. Right? Let me go to what this gentleman here is saying. But I just wanted to give you all a little context to understand how these people are looking at the development of this country and how the money should be spent. And the fact that some of them just carry a bitterness for Dr. Jagdeo. The guy talking about Jagdeo would never stand up with him alone in a room. Why? Why you need to be alone in a room with you? For what reason? You don't have a wife, you go be alone in a room with your wife. You want the vice president alone in a room with you without his bodyguard? For what? To do what? And then talking all this stuff. Y'all listen to the man. Listen.
In the midst of this now, you got these anti-men, these sodomites, these Bergamites and Claphamites are coming out because they want an opportunity now to ride the teachers' wave. But they've been attacked and they unsolved murders. Many people who were murdered, the Henry boys were not sodomites, as far as I'm aware. And their murder hasn't been solved. Monica Reese was not a sodomite, and her murder hasn't been resolved.
This you don't concern me.
That the Guyana police must have a special aunt to deal with y'all. So what happened to any boys? What happened when the man came to investigate and Robeson and others hindered that process when he wanted?
You know, it is funny. These people have their own recollection of events. You understand? I remember international agencies getting involved in that investigation, right? I remember there were political actors getting involved in that investigation, trying to rile people up. I remember the spin-off from the Henry boys, and oh gosh, this guy, I think his last name is Singh or something like the Indian guy that was killed too. I remember the spin-off of what happened on the East Coast there, in that area, where persons who are not even living in the area, persons who just traverse in the East Coast, you understand me? Apostle Nigel, were beaten and assaulted and robbed. You hear me? So it is funny sometimes to hear how some people recollect events. Harris Singh, thank you, Sally Jones. Recollect these events that happen in this country. You jump to the Henry boys. While tragic, they were persons who politicized that whole situation, that turned the East Coast into a place where a certain race couldn't travel to go to work or play the trade, or they couldn't move. A matter of fact, not even a certain race. The whole East Coast, they locked down. Nobody couldn't pass. And then this gentleman here can talk about apartheid in Guyana. When his words here, people could take and use to go on the road and incite violence in people. Because mind you, this man abusing a pastor for not being aggressive like him on the road. You understand? Listen again.
To have forensics done on the Henry boys. Why are you telling me? Act of law. It is criminal. And PNC or APNU, you did it. There's nothing in all other states that a government could go on budget day and say, we're going to get criminal. Do have a criminal. This is about Guyanese having respect shown to them by leaders who are criminals, to say the least. Because my policy is straight. If you violate the Constitution, you're a criminal. If you break a law according to Guyana's Criminal Offences Act, you are a criminal.
So, the laws of Guyana require, right? The laws of Guyana require trade unions to submit themselves to audit. The laws of Guyana require trade unions to submit financial statements. The laws of Guyana, which requires trade unions to have rules and laws, you understand me, state clearly that an associate teacher, once entering into the National Assembly, cannot run for the General Secretary position. So the selective memory and the selective implementation of the laws of Guyana by these people here is laughable. And I've not heard this honorable person here, this apostle, address the violation of the Constitution of the Union and the violation by Coretta MacDonald by holding the position of a General Secretary for the Union. So Mr. Prim and Proper Apostle London, who follows all the rules and does everything right and Apostle, why are you not speaking out about this? How could the union come to play there representing the rights of teachers and they are not in good standing? How could you call out persons to go and protest with a union that is not in good standing in relation to the rules that govern unions? They don't have financial accountability. After these accusations were made about the union not submitting financial records, not availing itself to be audited or anything of the sort, we got a statement from Mark Light with no evidence to prove otherwise, that, hey, this is not true. The Auditor General is a blasted liar. The deeds on the commercial registry, a set of corrupt people there. Because here, look at our stamped documents. We handed these in to be audited. These are our financial statements that we have been submitting. So he jumped past all of that to now come and ask public servants to join the union that's not even following its own rules. The union that lacking transparency, calling people out. Calling people out.
It is criminal to tell a teacher that you have a grievance as a teacher, but I won't talk to you as your employer. That's a crime.
Now, mind you, the Ministry of Education at no point has said we are not bargaining with the teachers. At no point in the Ministry of Education, the President, the Minister of Education, nobody from the Education Department, nobody said that. Right? If you remember, they said there was a meeting that was supposed to happen on the 21st of February, 4 days ago, right? They had a meeting scheduled for the 21st of February. And the fact that this gentleman here, this learned gentleman, okay, remember the Apostle Breitbart, is making no mention of all the non-salary benefits that have been implemented. Is making no mention of the increase in salary for trainees right up from 2020 to now. The GTU decided to walk away from the bargaining, the bilateral bargaining that they were having between the two organizations. The GTU decided to walk away. And I would dare say Coretta McDonald decided to walk away. Because remember, listen, Coretta is looking to start a political party. And if you have teachers who are happy in the system or perceived to be happy, this is not to her benefit, because what she can tell them. So now you got teachers, some teachers, mind you, expecting more than they actually should get, or expecting more than their qualifications would allow. Look, the other day, I scrolling through TikTok, and I don't know if it's the fact that the students were out of school because of the strike, but the teacher in the classroom on a TikTok live, mind you, she wasn't saying anything bad. She was talking about, what was she talking about? Loving the job, and if you're in tune with your students, you'd know when they got issues at home and that kind of thing. Right? She was talking about that. But I'm just showing you that they got teachers who in school on social media when the focus should be on the children. Then they got some teachers who just refusing to upgrade themselves. They just decide that they're here for a number of years, so they automatically deserve the salary of a teacher with a degree or a doctorate or whatever it is, or a bachelor's or whatever it is. And that can't work.
That is a criminal act, to tell a teacher that you would not allow for collective.
So first of all, I just want to establish that I don't want to hear anything about criminal acts if we're not examining the criminal acts that have been acted out before. You understand me? We have to look at the initial act. The union is functioning in criminality right now. So I don't want to hear anything about the GTU. Not a thing.
Bargaining, that is against the act of law.
Selective memory.
It is criminal. And PNC or APNI, you did it. There's nothing in all law that states that a government could go on budget and say, we're going to give teachers 50, 25%, 50%.
Indeed, there's nothing in the law that says that, but there's something in the law that speaks to general secretaries of the GTU. There's something in the law that speaks to trade unions being audited and submitting financial statements. There's something in the constitution of the trade union that speaks to relief for teachers because they're paying dues. You can imagine, instead of helping these teachers, the trade union is going to, the teachers union, sorry, not the trade union, teachers union is going to be spending millions of dollars for a lawyer to fight a case for teachers to be paid for staying home. This lawyer, I've heard, charged him $600,000 as a consultation fee. $600,000 as a consultation fee. I hope they didn't take the Darren Wade. Cause that there will be oh boy, it would be a hell of a waste of money. I hope they didn't take Darren Wade.
Even 100%. That is not what the law requires. The law of Guyana requires that before the employer, which would be the administration, we call it the state of government, before the employer announces what a teacher will earn or any public servant, you have to bargain with them. That is the law. How you decide now that you just disregard?
So this guy here learn about collective bargaining. Post 2020, right? When the coalition government, his girl Coretta's government, was implementing salary increases how they saw fit. And then in certain cases saying, hey, this year y'all ain't got nothing to get. Things tight. He didn't know about law, and the law says you can't go to parliament and say you're not giving them anything, Winston Jordan. You didn't know that. You understand me? And that is the thing that's get me wild. These people just all of a sudden get memory about what the law says and what is constitutional and what should be done. And when the constitution and the law is being violated, you don't hear them or see them anywhere. He is appearing on Coretta program, and Coretta is an illegal general secretary. Coretta is head of an organization that is not accountable, that is not transparent. And people like this guy come into play. They're fooling people, but the law says, and it's unconstitutional. Okay. Is anything else unconstitutional that you see happening or wrong in relation to the GTU and this ministry education matter? And then talking about pastors and salary and how much more they're making than teachers. You're a pastor too. You're an apostle. I think that's higher than a pastor. You're making a nice bag too. So don't pull yourself out of it. Don't pull yourself out of it, sir. You're making a nice bag. Your congregation don't give collection and throw tithes. It's every Sunday. It's every Sunday. You are collecting just like Pastor Sills or whoever you're abusing. You are collecting just like him. And I'm saying you're most likely collecting more than the teachers too. That you're saying he getting paid more than. So the selective outrage that you get from these people, laughable.
Show no respect for the law. And you just head right there to say, Ashley Singh, tell him to get 6.5%. And that's
when Winston Jordan told him they had nothing to get. At least the minister saying, hey, 6.5, who will they say? We could maintain this and pay this every year going forward, every month going forward, until we year end when we say we're raising it again. And that's my thing too. It's not like every year and you're getting an increase. So if you add the increase every year that you got since the year finale administration get in, it's more than 20%. Hold on. I think you get 10, 8, and 6.5. I think 10%, 8%. No. Wait. I think the first year it was it. Oh gosh. Let me Google. Let me see. Because you're going to hear I telling you all wrong thing. Public servant increase 2020 Guyana. And this is how easy this information is to Google, you know. Right, so all right, let me see. This information easy to Google. Right, so the payment of 7% retroactive salary increase along with a substantive December salary pensions placed something. So this is, okay, this is 2021 to 7%. 2023, it was 6.5. Hold on. Let me get the percentage right. Let me see. He's got to go through all these darn things and fine. But my point is, in 2020, there was an increase. No, 2021 there was an increase. 2022 there was an increase. 2023 there was an increase. Right? And I'm saying in that space of time, the increase was over 15% across the board for all public servants. That is what I'm saying. Along with the president bringing certain public servants on par in terms of years of service and moving them up in terms of qualification. So they did something with the police in terms of your rank and your years of service, your salary is different. And nurses were brought regularized, you should say, where nurses with higher qualifications got higher pay and that kind of thing. Nurses working in the hinterland got better allowances and that stuff. So I am saying from 2021 to 2023, across the board, yeah, across the board, public servants got at least 15% increase in their salaries so far. Right? So far. So to say that nothing has been done and they have not been benefiting and all this other nonsense, bunkum.
That's the end of the matter. And Selvin, you have no cause to speak against that. Man, I want you to come and talk. Come on this broadcast. I'll invite you to talk publicly with me, to tell the whole world what you said. That it makes sense. So let me get this straight as I close up. And I don't want to waste your time, but I'm saying just for the sake of reason.
Now listen to this man equate rape with the teachers' strike, right? I don't understand the correlation, but y'all listen.
7 cents. If a man were to rape one of your daughters, right? She's going home from work. She's caught maybe on the back road by an aqueduct, and she's raped brutally by 2 or 3 men. She comes home and says to you, Daddy, I know the men who did that. And she calls them by name. Will you tell your daughter, Selvin Sills, that she must be wise as a serpent and harmless as a dove, so you're supporting her silently?
You hear this? Now remember, Selvin Sills was in Linden talking to some teachers protesting and saying that he's supporting them silently. You understand? It should be wise as a serpent and harmless as a dove or silent like a dove or something. But this is what brought on the attack on this guy's fellow man of God. You understand? Right? That's what brought on the attack on Apostle London's fellow man of God. Now he's equating this man's daughter getting raped by 3 men to the teacher's plight. I don't understand how the two are similar in any way, shape, or form. But that's the level of thinking. And this here is a man of God. This here is a man of God.
Come and tell the world how much of a hypocrite you are. Would you tell your daughter who's brutally raped by men, 7 Sills, that you are in silent support of her. You're not going to court. You're not going to the police station or anything like that. You're going to support her silently because it's a spiritual warfare. And we don't.
And if you notice in the screen, the glass door at the back, they got a little child sitting down right there in the chair. And this man going on at a rate.
Just against flesh and blood babies. So the men who raped you, the men who sodomized you, like the minister was accused of sodomizing a little girl, you would tell her, listen, and maybe that's why you're quiet. By men, but we're praying. And you must be wise as a serpent and harmless as a dove. And they're foot soldiers. And then there's strategists. And we are silently supporting you while the men rape and bug with you. Is that what you can tell the child? I just want you to come out and tell the world the truth. Because I believe that if anything, the act of rape, in your view, is caused by some demon, which is actually foolish. Because
so again, I'm showing you the mindset of these people. Right? This is a pastor who saw some teachers protesting in Linden, spoke to them. Somebody recorded him and sent it to Apostle here. And this is the result. Me by getting lambase here on social media. Now the Apostle also went on to talk about this guy Messiah and somebody else at Central Housing and Planning, and that Messiah was kept on as the chairman of the post office board after the coalition change, and the only reason he's doing that is because the government is sympathetic to him. All that nonsense. Now these are, like again, like I told you at the beginning of the program, these are Afro-Guyanese persons who just doesn't seem to have the same views of these other Afro-Guyanese persons. So the Messiah guy, well-known pastor in the country, well-respected man, and would have his value would have been seen to probably have this government keep him on in whatever position he was in, right? The Apostle London doesn't recognize or care about that. He's just looking at these persons are there because they're sympathetic to the government. So they have no value to add outside of being sympathetic and getting, according to him, handouts from the government. They can't view the teachers protesting as not legal because of the violations that would have been highlighted by the Ministry of Education. They could, the reason they could not be involving themselves is because they feel, well, hey, my church, well, I don't know if churches submit audits and that kind of thing, but my church is accountable for the funds that coming in. Why these people at the union shouldn't be accountable for the funds that coming in as well? So let me stay away from the issue. That could be the reasoning, but Nigel London doesn't see it like that. Nigel London expects blind, and just like the PNC, blind support. Blind support, no matter what the issue is. Y'all ever hear Michael London happy about anything? Ever? You ever see a video with Michael London actually happy about anything at all? Nobody can tell me. You never seen it. Michael, hear me about Michael. Nigel London is never happy about anything. Everything is always an issue. Everybody's always doing everything in terribly. You understand? And only he has the solution. Only he has the solution. That's the sad part about it. Only he has the solution. And oftentimes they don't tell you the solution, they're just telling you Guyana is an oil producing nation and we should spend more and we should have more and that kind of thing. That's usually their plan. Spend more money. But then when you say spend it on what, to what end, to what's the outcome you're looking for when we spend this money? You can't hear anything. They have nothing to tell you. Again, the opposition and even Nigel London as a person, I don't know what his accomplishment. I never see where he's live or, you know, I hear he got a cancer or something, whatever. But I am saying the people like Nigel London, I haven't even see the church that he's lead. I haven't seen it. I don't know how big it is, what the congregation look like and that kind of thing. But I am saying, sir, and what was the name of this thing here he got? The People's Movement or something. Yes, the People's Movement. Before you decide to jump in this fray, you should get some more people. Right? Because right now is you alone moving. You alone moving, brother. And imagine, this is somebody who vied for candidacy at the local government elections. Has such a big voice, such a big following. He got more people living in the house than the votes he gets at local government elections. You understand? More people living in his house than the votes he gets at local government elections. The people of Linden, where he lives, don't even have time with him. If God come down tomorrow, Nigel London will file an issue with that. That is how sad this man is sad. There's nothing that pleases this gentleman. Nothing, 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 nothing. Nothing at all. And the sad part about it is that he probably will never have an opportunity to show us as Guyanese what he can do, because he would not have that kind of support at an election. No way. And if you can't make it at local government, at the local level, where the people know you, you understand me? If you can't make it at the local level, where the people know you from your community, what are you going to do at the regional level, the general region elections? Call the morning.
Good morning, Courdel.
Morning.
You're talking about Linden. You know the Linden teachers or the people in Linden, you know how much money they just get per year on a household? Some get 300,000, some get 400,000, some get 500,000 household. And why I'm saying that? The light bill, what people pay other way in other parts of this country, the Linden people just pay $5 a kilowatt.
Yeah.
And they just save hundreds of thousands of dollars per year.
Yeah.
And the first thing when they call strike, they strike.
Yeah, force people out.
And there's a force people out. Nobody's not thinking. Nobody's not thinking. But I like how the strike. Because the strike fell back on Coretta McDonald and the union.
Yeah.
You see that what? You see greed is what? You see greed. You see they getting this money $100 and something million a year, but they ain't satisfied. You know they're satisfied. And why I tell you this? They said greed is more dangerous than cancer.
Yeah.
More dangerous than cancer. Greed. You see, the union, they self-destruct because she called the strike. She called the strike, and the union feeling the pain now because if the government stop take out the money from the they stop take out the money from and as an agent and giving it to the union, they're in big trouble because nobody gonna pay no union.
Exactly. Well, they can get some that can still pay, but they ain't gonna get that lump sum right away. They know for sure.
Right, it's $35 million every 3 months, I believe they just get. And they're satisfied.
Man. I tell you, buddy.
All right.
That's a calling. So a good point there by the caller. A good point there by the caller. This strike exposed Corrector. It exposed the union. And I maintain before any union player representing anybody or body, any person or body in this country, you have to be in good standing. You have to be in good standing. How can you now come and play you representing on legal grounds, on constitutional grounds, on the rule of law, when you're not even following it? I'm glad that a lot of teachers went back to the classroom because a lot of them didn't know about the exploits of the executive of this teachers union. A lot of them didn't know. A lot of them didn't know. So now that they're hearing about all the supermarkets and the rental apartments and the car dealerships and the churches and all these things that are going on, a lot of them decide, well, hey, we can go back to the class because we pay getting short. Y'all got other source of income. Good morning, Vishal.
Good morning, my friend. How are you?
At the hate trying, brother.
I guess you had a blast this past weekend.
Man, working. We work.
I wonder, is where all the people who is striking the other day, they went and park. They went to Majiadi.
I see a lot of people on the road, so there's a possibility that some of them.
Yeah, they went to March the other day. So I'm to the protest, man. I'm to the protest.
They're waiting to hear from the court today. So that's what they're waiting to hear from the court to find out if the court will allow these teachers to get paid until the matters finish being heard in court. But how you gonna get paid? You don't work, Vishal?
Of Guyana, if you don't work, you don't get paid.
Man, partner, I don't know what these teachers think are what some of these teachers think it is, bro. You understand? They continue to let the GTU
trying the same tactics that they would have tried in 1998, 99, and 2000, even 2001, right? You remember the majority of the employees or the employees in the project, the public sector, the majority are Afro.
Yeah.
And we all know that a strong majority of those public sector employees subscribe to flapping on the narrative. Right?
A majority, I don't want to call it strong. I'm going to say a majority, though.
Good, a majority, right?
Yeah.
But over the years, that number has dwindled.
Indeed.
Right? Because in 1998, when they called the all-out strike, which the GPSU and the GTU, right?
Yeah, GTU.
Good. Both of them called a strike, and public sector employees from across the public sector or employees across the public sector, they all went to the all-out strike as to destabilize the government.
Right.
But the government spent 18 years after that. Right? The PPP has a stronger intellectual leadership within the hierarchy. You understand?
Yeah.
Flapu, on the other hand, they have a very unique leadership quality, man. But I would say they fill with leadership deficiency because they don't have no leadership. They can't lead no organization successfully or business.
But if you check during the APNU time, a lot of civil society groups that they went on their head get closed down. You understand? Habitat for Humanity, President Utaward still can't catch itself up to now since these APN had it.
Now, people talking about the teacher's salary and so forth, right? In 2014, we collected 135 billion Guyana dollars in revenue. Our national revenue collection was 135 billion dollars, right? However, from that 135 billion dollars, the government set aside 1.7 billion to give the children $10,000 child. Every school age child, right? Look at what the revenue was in 2014. In 2015, the revenue went up to about 840 something million US dollars. Right?
Right.
Good. Flapnu took away the $10,000 grant. Flapnu just gives 8% incremental increase, meaning that it's not all the public sector employee receiving.
Right.
It was incremental. I am not a university graduate. I don't have a degree or a diploma. But these are simple numbers that even a child could decipher. If you understand what I mean.
Yeah.
Now, look, they spend $1.5 trillion in 5 years. Let us disaggregate government spending on capital expenditure. The majority of the contract, the bulk of the contract, went to rich Indo-Guyanese businessmen. How many small Afro-Guyanese contractors evolved during the tenureship of Flap?
Not that many.
If government spending is one of the factors that propels economic growth, isn't that so?
Yes, sir.
Right? Because that is what would have propelled America's economic growth. After the 1940s, when I think he started the infrastructural, the countrywide infrastructural work, which result in these highways and freeways and Amtrak and all of these other infrastructural facilities, right?
Right.
That is what propels economic growth. So 1.5 trillion spent from 2015 to 2019 budget, because it's 5 budgets there, $1.5 trillion. And if you disaggregate the capital expenditure, the bulk of those money went to Indo-Guyanese, rich Indo-Guyanese businessmen and women, or businessmen, I should say.
Yeah.
So if they so love Afro-Guyanese, I heard Corretto or Corrupt McDonald, is she named now? Corrupt McDonald saying that because it's black people. So they know it's black people. They didn't know to empower their soul love black people when they came into power, brother. Yeah? You're going to give them 8% increase. Plus, you're going to give yourself 15 or 100% increase. And you had the audacity to tell those same people that you have no apologies to it.
Yep.
You had no apologies to those people when you give them the 8% increase.
Yep.
You have no apologies to those people when you tell them that you can't sustain a yearly bonus in 2017.
Yep.
You didn't find it fit. You didn't apologize to the nation when you thought the 18 million was a figment of the imagination.
Yeah.
They did not apologize to the nation when they thought the same $18 million was a gift.
And then it goes ICJ, the 80 million do a set of thing.
You understand? So what moral authority does the pastor or the pastor in Linden have to lecture anybody on righteous living? Because he himself is culpable of Satanism.
You Vishal, use trouble.
Vishal, no, because how could you come and lecture me? What place I got in your church? You can't even redeem your own self. You gonna redeem me? Eh? I like the Vishal. I like the Vishal. He can't redeem himself. He gonna redeem me?
Boy, the apostle is trouble. The apostle is trouble.
The creator according to the biblical words or the words of the Bible, it says, "Grace is he that is in me than he that is in the world." Right? And there's another religious text says, "Your words, dreams, and tasks create condition in your life. Lord, to be more power packed with faith, hope, and love, and this is what you don't have." I needed the Passover from Linden.
Vishal, thank you for coming through. I see somebody else calling there. Let me give them a chance there. Hey, listen, Vishal, but we changing correct name from Ashuria. Yeah, what I telling y'all? We changing correct name from Ashuria today. Vishal just give Correttish a new name. Corruption McDonald. That's her new name from Corruption McDonald. Let me see. I see somebody else was calling. Let me try and get him back. Oh gosh, a couple of people were calling. Let me see. This one from overseas. He best don't done me credit. Yeah. Here, Corruption McDonald. Corruption. Oh my goodness. These people is trouble. This all right, the person in there for nothing. All right. Let me see. Oh, this guy called 3 times by. Corruption McDonald. That is what we're running with from today, people. Corruption McDonald.
Good morning, good morning.
Morning, Chief. I see I miss your call.
I know.
Well, we here on the live. So go ahead.
Yeah, I know. Hello?
I said we here on the live now, so go ahead. We listening.
Okay. Man, I was studying something over the weekend. With this decision by the court. And I was thinking kind of concerning it. He said, according to the court, they stopped the government from not taking out money from the teachers' pay. Also, give the teachers' union the power that the government must take out the contribution for the union. I won't go with that. You see, because it opened a window. It opened a window to the teachers now and the union that they could strike at any time, when they want, how they want, when they like, because they know the government still have to pay them.
Right.
As it passed by the court. And I think that the judge, whosoever is easy person, I think he got to review the thing. Because I want to ask a question. If he got a business and he basically work with strike money because he didn't get chewed whosoever they want, and he go to the court and the court say he must pay them, he cannot tolerate that. Why he must pay them? Why? You can remember that the sanctions didn't break down. They didn't break down. They're still going through. And they take up on the thing and strike. I mean, those bad. I think they got to review the thing. It is a slap. It's a slap in the government face there. You know, as I say, I don't know how this court, I don't know how these courts operate. That's why when they go to the Caribbean court, you know, and the make things loose, the Caribbean court is loose because they make wrong decisions.
Pardon, we got some issues in the system that we need to sort out. But I do believe that the process will work itself out. And I think the teachers should allow for the process, the bargaining process to be continued as it was happening with the GTU.
That's right. You see, but I'm saying again, Colonel, that the judge, the court open pass there. Because they could, as I said before, they could strike when they want to. If they get to go to the bargaining table and they get through, they could come back on the road. I don't know if they're still on the road. But they got the opposition, the prerogative now, in fact, to strike when they want, how they want, when they like. If they get nothing, they will strike. Because we know you can go up on the road, we can spend 2 weeks on the road or 3 weeks, and the government still got to pay them because it passed by the law.
Man, listen.
And that is wrong. Those wrong.
Listen,
So,
at the end of the day, I am pretty sure that the ministry and the government, they're looking at this matter to sort it out, right? But
I agree with you. But just for you, but for me, I think I may be wrong, or I may be too biased. But for me, you understand why I seen it is that once I think it's just temporary. Me don't understand what you mean by temporary. It's just for temporary until the 20th of April.
Well, I think that's when they can get the final ruling.
I know, but he shouldn't get the ruling the week if.
Well, I mean, there's the judicial system. See, you know, and they got courts to review. I mean, this is the same high court that they're telling me, not the high court, that was the appeal court, I should say. But here, I am not a legal person. Let the legal people deal with this here. I am surprised that Darren Wade actually get a case in his favor.
But just be saying, just be saying, I agree with Moniz, just be saying, none of them got no case with it, no law with it, because look what the judge do. The judge seals it, and he get a case there, and it's nobody could stop it, and a whole heap of nonsense going on. Secondly, I want to be short, because I know the other people calling. Secondly, Colonel, who is the owner of Guyanese News?
Guyanese News? Guyana News Daily?
Guyanese, Guyanese News, man, Guyanese News.
I'm not sure about that.
You must check up your phone, you see a whole heap of nonsense. You must put it down. Everything for this buy is jail. Jack, you're going to get jail. FBI this. Is a whole Guyanese News name here. I think I could read it.
But I gotta check it out.
I want to know who is this brother. Colonel, check it out. Check it out, brother.
Everybody busting a news thing online now, so you know everybody doing a thing.
Did that one no name dog? He know everything. He can't even talk properly.
He's investigatable.
He's investigating, man. You get people get back home.
Brother, don't worry about doggy buddy, no.
Some police girl did something with the work, with the leave. It can be something that they make the not she have, not because of them. But to see these things was happening, these people don't respond to these things.
Right.
Or they don't listen. The police force don't respond to that.
Yeah.
Look, they don't listen. Anyway,
I don't get involved in them bad things. The ones they call me, they make good. But what I'm gonna do is I think the Attorney General did a piece in relation to that court ruling to give us a better understanding. So what I'll probably do, I'll probably stream that live a little later or post it to my Facebook so people have a better understanding of what's going on.
I heard the Attorney General, but what happened on what is called social media is that the government lose the case, you know. The government lose the case and they got to pay the teacher whether they strike or they didn't strike. And you should
man here.
But I listen to the Attorney General And it's different the way he's saying to what the social media got.
Yeah. Well, like I said, I'm gonna post it and I'm gonna make myself better aware of the information. And we're gonna look at that tomorrow.
Yeah,
Right?
perfect.
For some reason, I didn't even anyway, I can say that. But tomorrow. Thanks for calling, brother.
Yeah. Okay, man. Have
Take
a good day.
Yeah, guys. So I don't know how I was out of the loop with that. I don't know. Anyway, so guys, listen. Thank you for being here. Let's meet here again tomorrow where we'll discuss this court ruling a little better. And you know, guys, please call in when we're live. We love to hear your opinion. We like to hear more from the people overseas. We don't really hear from you guys. Y'all lively in the comments, but y'all don't call. But you know, we'd love to hear your opinion on what's happening in Guyana, and you know, sometimes what you've seen when you've been here on your visits recently and that kind of thing. Let's hope these teachers go back to the classroom and be patient and wait to receive the flowers just like everybody else. You understand? Right? And I telling anyway. Y'all have a good day. Be good Guyanese, and we can join this conversation again tomorrow. Same time, same place. 9 right here. Until next time, peace, love, one Guyana.
Let's talk about bauxite, gold, diamond, and rice. We got it right here. Guyana ain't going nowhere. We got enough oil to one Guyana.